Hi guys, what's going on? And welcome back to another episode of Total War Arena. So, we are back with Sulla and the Roman infantry. I did a video on the Principes not too long ago. And we had the Roman heavy infantry weekend maybe a couple of weekends ago. And I just managed to just skim enough together to push up to the tier 6s at half price for 30% off or whatever it was. We saved a bit of free experience there. And I've slowly been playing the odd game with these guys just on my doubles, but I haven't really properly got stuck into them yet. But some of my equipment carried over, thankfully, which is lovely with the Romans. A lot of the stuff does between the cavalry, the infantry, the javelins, etc, etc. So it's kind of nice for that. But basically we have now got some pretty decent body armour going on with some extra degrees, which gives me a little bit more movement speed. I've got the first shield upgrade. I've still got another one to get though yet. Although there's a consequence to that. You actually gain missile block but lose melee defense. Not sure that's really worth it, to be honest. Obviously, I'll certainly get the upgraded weapon because that gives you quite a bit more weapon damage, which is obviously good. And I may even think about getting some of the helmets because I'm pretty sure they carry down the tech tree fairly well anyway. So, these are just the natural progression along the Roman infantry line. These are, of course, the medium Roman infantry. If you don't know, once you reach tier 5, at the end of sort of the Republican era troops of the Principes, then you get a choice. You can go with the Legionaries or the Armoured Legionaries. And basically it revolves around mobility. You have slightly tougher but slower Armoured Legionaries, which are fine and are workable, but they are very slow. You can kind of get away with it a bit with Sulla, of course, because you have access to Whip, which gives that decent movement speed bonus and kind of means you can get away with the heavy infantry a bit more. But mostly because of the way the heavy infantry weekend panned out last weekend, I ended up going for these because these were cheaper. And I personally am much more of a fan of mobility, and so that's why we're going down basically the medium infantry tree rather than the heavy Roman infantry tree for the moment. Although we may switch and have a look at the Roman armoured legionaries at some point in the future. So what are the stats like in these guys? So mobility is actually not too bad. Base 3.8 movement running with upgraded equipment, obviously with our greaves, which is, while not fast, is not actually horrifically slow. And combined with whip, which gives, I don't know what it's like at this tier, what, 22%? Pretty decent movement speed bonus. Makes these guys actually not too bad. Body armour, 147. Yeah, again, pretty decent. We'll probably get a little bit more once we get the next helmet. That gives us another 6. So we're getting some pretty decent values. Yeah, they play pretty much classically like as you'd expect with Romans, that tough little firm infantry unit. They seem to fight fairly well against most things with Sulla, particularly with Fortified, because it just gives them such a boost to that shield melee defense. Makes it really hard for people to land hits on them. And of course we're whipping and getting our melee attack up. And of course we have access to our prescription as well, which means that the enemy is losing stats when they're facing up against us. So, enough chatting, let's hop into a game and see if we can have a decent battle with these guys. So, we are loading into battle on the new map. On Caproware. So, where are we going to go? Obviously, initially, I'd be inclined to go towards the city side. There's a worryingly large amount of range going on in our team, though. 1, 2, 3, 4 units of range and some artillery. This is going to be a fairly brutal battle, I think. Well, let's wait to load in and just try and keep out of the way. Obviously, with Sulla, we don't get a testudo, so we have no really way of defending ourselves very easily against enemy missiles, which is kind of the biggest problem. Let's get a prescription activated and then get ourselves whipped up and heading it into this long grass here. Maybe give us a bit of cover. There's a watchtower here. Then we have a watchtower on the similar side. I don't know what the range of these watchtowers is, though, to be honest. Let's have a look. Some enemy archers there. Wish I was cavalry. They would have been nice victims. Well, let's start pushing forwards then, seeing what we can see. Oh, more ranged. Slingers in front of us. There's quite a lot of enemy archer units there, and we have basically no archer units with us. All our archer units are out in the grass. So it's going to be a bit of a hard start, isn't it?
Whip them!
Unless we can get in on some of these units. We really need to try and start just pinning some people into fights. Push up this way into this bit of grass here. Hopefully we'll bring the favour with these archer units up with us, which will help drive some of these enemies away a little bit.
Beat them in! Swordsman!
Go over there, please. What have we got in terms of these enemy archers are going to be a pain. I've not noticed the enemy archers over here either.
On my mark. The enemy base will soon be
pull back because they're going to go for our own archers. Do have a bit of friendly's cav in here support. And we don't really have a lot else in terms of support though, to be honest. Those barbarians are always going to lose that cavalry charge. Presumably these Greeks are going to try and anvil. Let's see if we can push around the back into these Greeks, you never know.
Whip them. Swordsman. Swordsman.
Try and get some damage up on these guys over here. Pull these guys down this way. What are they? Proven warriors. Okay, we'll have a bit of a go at them. Let's try and push around that way. You two I will have going to fortify. Nothing I can do about the arrows at the moment. I'm just going to have to weather them, like weathering the storm. We're taking an annoying amount of enemy archer fire. You know, these slingers should be targeting the enemy archers. Not just shooting into the back of some barbarians. I don't really care about the barbarians. I can deal with them. Is what I can't deal with is the enemy archers. Okay, so we've got these guys. So let's turn about face, about face, about face. Turn you. Let's go straight into a fortified formation. Obviously, it'll slow us down. But I want to keep these two units focused against these enemy barbarians if I can. We're going to get a rear flank. Not going to be enough to rout us, though, even with a whip by the looks of it. So that's okay. These units are going to try and set up here. Keep everyone pinned down. And let's try and keep our strikes all up and going. We're cutting down these barbarians fairly effectively. This is kind of the situation where Sulla does kind of excel, really. We're just in a tough fight against lots of different people. We've got some vengeances going on. You know, it's certainly not an easy fight. But it's the right sort of fight for us to be fighting in. I'm going to swap my prescription over to that unit. Because this is going to be a bit more central, so everyone should be, all the enemies should be activating prescription now. Which even with their vengeance activated, you see, we're taking off as much melee weapon attack as they are giving. You know, we're taking off 44. They're only gaining 54 from, where are you lot going? Fight him. They're only gaining 54 from the actual fight, you see, so that's what we're trying to do. We're getting dangerously close to routing on him, so we can't whip him. Let's turn these guys round on these legionaries here then. Looks like these guys are pretty much dead, unfortunately. We certainly can't whip them. They're just hanging in there on the morale. But they're actually getting a fair chuck. Oh, more enemies are turned up. Are we going to rout? Oh, I shouldn't have done that. That was stupid. What an idiot. That was a wrong button to press. Okay, they've recovered. Oh, they haven't. I thought they were going to recover back. They got the routing modifier. See, these guys are now going to have a really hard time holding off here, given how surrounded they are. We will whip them, though. These guys, I just want to try and pull back, see if I can get them out of safety, but the enemy barbarian infantry are significantly quicker than me. These guys are just holding on, but I think they're going to rout any second now. Unfortunately, we gave a fair fight there, to be honest. And we might actually end up winning the battle, though, to be honest, as well. Are we going to risk a whip? We'll risk a whip. Problem is, it increases our base damage quite a lot because it gives us all that extra output. Did these guys get away? Oops. No, they got caught up. That was my own fault. They're going to recover. Turn, 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 turn. Straight into fortify. Let's face these guys head on. Okay, now I'll give you a run for your money, bloody barbarians. These guys, we are still fighting on. This is the power of Sulla. It's just in that ability to keep going, despite all the odds. These slingers still haven't contributed anything useful to the game. Let's keep up the pressure on these barbarians. We are being cut down, but ultimately we are holding them off, which is what we need to do. We can't whip these guys now because they're going to completely rout. We created up a fair amount of aggression damage, and we basically held up the entire enemy team on this side because we got caught up in 7, 8, 9 units there, and that's kind of the power of Sulla. That's where Sulla is good for. That is how he is supposed to be used, in my opinion, is that really ultimate defensive unit. I'm giving these barbarians a good run for their money now. Shouldn't be fighting Romans in the open on a roadway. We might even get a buff from the roadway. Not quite. Heavy infantry do get a buff from the roadway. Going with our stab. I've gone for an iron discipline so they don't rout. But you see, they're struggling to land hits on me because of our shield bonuses, you see, which means that the chance of them landing hits is much reduced. It's a shame we can't whip, because that would really be what we needed. But hopefully we should kill off this last unit. It's only got 1 hit point left. And there he goes. Cool. We actually have got out with with 3 men left alive. Awesome. Let's pull back around here. Yes, that wasn't too bad a battle. It's kind of a bit more of a fight than I would normally aim to get into. You wouldn't normally aim to sort of get stuck into such a massive brawl because obviously it kind of becomes a bit out of your control and it just becomes a fight for survival. But, you know, Sulla's good for that. You just got to be careful to manage your whipping a little bit because if you're not careful, you do whip yourself into a rout like I did on one of my units. And that's obviously not a good thing to be doing. So let's push around here, see if we can find anyone else to kill. But it looks like most of the enemies are pretty much dead. It's going to be finished off with these Blood Riders by the looks of it. And then looks like we're winning anyway. There we go, victory! So yes, that highlights kind of the power of Sulla in the right situation. New Arminius skin. Yeah, it's just perfect at this sort of thing. That tough defensive fight, getting stuck in. You know, you've got to remember that we were up against 3 armoured legionaries that also had Vengeance activated. And, you know, Vengeance is powerful, but it's not actually that effective against Sulla in the right sort of situations. You know, Sulla with his Fortify, with a prescription activated on a middle unit, which is, you know, covering the enemies, then, you know, Vengeance isn't that effective because I can keep my whip going. I can give myself the same melee attack bonuses of Vengeance. You know, I'm getting, it's like 40, 50, 61%, probably a bit less on this, 52% on a tier 6. You know, it's a significant buff. And I can keep that up quite easily. And at the same time, I'm gaining massive melee shield defense, which means that the chance of an enemy landing a hit on me is pretty low. And I'm taking down their melee attack, which means that they have an even less chance of landing a hit on me because they have a low melee attack. So they're actually a really nice combination of units. And that's what makes them just so sort of tanky. It's kind of like what Scipio should be with the Roman cavalry in a way. And really, it's just perfect for what it is. So, hopefully you've enjoyed this video, a bit more Sulla. I do enjoy playing Sulla. I'll be continuing playing down these guys a bit more. We may have another video on these guys before we hit the Centurions, or we may just wait until we get to the tier 7s. But anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel for lots more Total War Arena content, and I shall see you guys all on the next video.